Good evening from Mission Control Houston, and welcome to our live coverage tonight, the Soyuz docking to the International Space Station. It's been a pretty smooth day uphill for the three crew members making their way towards the orbital outpost, launching successfully. Right now, they're only about 9.3 miles away from their new home for two of them for the next 12 months. And they're closing in on their docking port and the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the space station. A couple of milestones coming up for us, but again, everything going very smoothly for this crew. Getting some view from some of the Russian cameras on board as the Soyuz continues to close in.
Copy.
As mentioned, just a couple of milestones coming up for us. All of the delta velocity burns done successfully. Those burns done to gradually raise the orbit of the Soyuz craft until it, as it completes its chase of the International Space Station. All those going on time and as planned for the craft, which had a flawless launch earlier this afternoon. Some of the upcoming milestones, a number of impulse burns to fine-tune the Soyuz's approach towards the International Space Station. Major ones we'll keep an eye out for will be coming at 8:11 p.m. Central Time, when the Soyuz craft will begin its fly-around of the station. That fly-around will allow it to move into position to go straight down the barrel from the Poisk module, lining it up for its docking port. After about 10 minutes, that fly around will take about 10 minutes, and after that it'll enter into what's called station keeping at around 8:21 p.m. Central Time. Station keeping allowing for any fine-tuning maneuvers before the final approach begins. Once that final approach starts, the Soyuz will slowly decrease its speed gradually as it gets closer and closer, eventually slowing down to a snail-like tenth of a meter per second before that docking comes to the Poisk module. Docking slated to occur at 8:36 p.m. Central Time tonight, and once that occurs, all the hooks will go in place, the Soyuz will be attached, and three new crew members will be ready to enter their new home on the International Space Station. On board that Soyuz craft right now, three crew members, starting off with NASA astronaut Scott Kelly. This, again, one of the most veteran crews to ever fly towards the International Space Station. Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko at the bottom there are going to be spending an entire year in space, the first ever one-year expedition on board the International Space Station. And commanding the Soyuz vehicle today is Russian cosmonaut Gennady Padalka, making his fifth flight into space, a veteran of three long-duration missions on board the ISS and one long duration on the Mir space station. Padalka is slated to become the most flown human being in history. He's going to be breaking Sergei Krikolov's mark of 803 days in space to have more time than anybody else in space. So a lot of excitement for this crew as they make their way up towards the International Space Station. And again, that docking slated on time just about 48 minutes from now at 8:32 p.m. Central Time. And on board the station right now, the crew that they're going to be joining, Expedition 43, already in progress, being led by NASA astronaut and current Expedition 43 commander Terry Virts. Virts has been on board the International Space Station along with Anton Shkaplerov, a Russian cosmonaut, and ESA astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti since they launched back in November of 2014. They'll be closely monitoring this Soyuz as they've been doing all day today, and they'll be responsible for obviously opening the hatch on the side of the International Space Station and welcoming these three new crew members onto their new home.
Crew members of Soyuz talking to each other.
So as mentioned, everything with this Soyuz craft going flawlessly today, and that of course all started with their launch a little bit earlier this afternoon. That launch coming right on time at its planned mark of 2:42 p.m. Central Time. Soyuz rocket lifting off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. It's dark out there, 1:42 a.m. in the morning. Over on the other side of the globe from us here in Houston. But all stages, first, second, and third of that rocket performing without any issues, sending them into their initial orbit. Soyuz spacecraft inside the rocket as it made that initial ascent. Following that successful ride to orbit, the Soyuz spacecraft was able to successfully deploy all antennas, deploy both solar arrays this time around, feeding power to the batteries, powering all the systems and electronics on board the Soyuz vehicle. And then following that, they were able to complete again all of those burns, firings of the Soyuz thrusters to gradually raise their orbit up to their current plane, just about right at the same level with the International Space Station, roughly 257 statute miles over the Earth's surface. And some of the recent milestones already passed. The Core's antenna conducted a successful test at about 7:46 p.m. Central Time. That coming at a range of, again, about 9.3 miles. Core's the automated system, or the antenna system on board, allowing for the automated docking, feeding both range of closure and various other data to the Soyuz craft during that automated docking. In just a couple of minutes, we should be getting TV activation on board the Soyuz, hopefully getting some camera views from the craft.
Because it says step 4.
And then shortly after we cross the 8 o'clock hour, they'll do a number of impulse burns, which will lead us up into that fly around again. That should start around 7:11 p.m. Central Time, lasting about 10 minutes before they get right down the barrel from that Poise module, begin station keeping, and then just a few minutes later, that final approach.
And also on MPEG.
Anton, да, пункт 4.5.
Right, and Anton, that was actually 4.5 at 00:53.
То есть просто включить запись, да?
So you just want me to turn on recording, and that's all?
Да, просто запись.
That's right. Simply recording.
У меня единственное, что изображения пропали.
And so our teams here in Mission Control Houston obviously following by, helping to prepare the station for the arrival of this new craft. They were following along too as they watched the launch of these 3 new crew members from Baikonur.
That's because we're
Making a special visit inside the room. It was actually the wife of Scott Kelly's twin brother, Mark Kelly, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Here you can see her with NASA astronaut Mike Fossum and former astronaut and current Johnson Space Center Director Ellen Ochoa. Giffords stopping by to give some good luck and some congratulations to the teams. They're talking real quickly with Reed Wiseman, an astronaut who did this just a little less than a year ago, making his first flight to space, was seated at the Capcom position, and they're talking to Tony Sakachi, the flight director who was on here for that launch operation. So a great quick visit from her. Her husband, Mark Kelly, Scott Kelly's twin, was over in Baikonur to watch his brothers launch into orbit. Mark Kelly and Scott Kelly, part of an exciting new study known as the Twin Study, which is going to be taking advantage of their unique situation where we're actually going to be able to obviously have a study down here on the ground and in space simultaneously, using Mark Kelly as a control group as we look to try and identify some of the more subtle changes that the microgravity environment can have on the human body all the way down to the molecular level. So one of the many interesting and unique investigations that's going to be taking place over the next year. Scott Kelly, of course, on this mission along with Mikhail Kornienko. A lot of the data that we're getting directly applicable to our upcoming journey to Mars as we look to do longer and longer duration missions. The journey to Mars will dwarf your standard 6-month space station mission, potentially lasting as long as 30 months. So obviously, as we continue to get more and more data on how the human body is able to adapt and stay healthy for longer times, the space station serving as the perfect platform to continually do that research. So a really exciting time, a really exciting milestone, and a new chapter for life on board the International Space Station.
КВД СОТК to electrical control.
Да, 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 это уже после стыковки.
Correct. This will be done after docking.
Называется. КВД СОТК. Но это
Called КВД.
And so a lot of the voices you're hearing right now coming from the Russian flight control team out in Koryov, just outside of Moscow. They've been controlling the Soyuz craft since shortly after liftoff, when they took control from the launch bunker down at Baikonur. They'll be responsible for all of the control again of the vehicle as it makes its automated way towards that docking port. Also getting the Russian side of the segment, everything ready for that arrival. We're starting to get some video feeds from the Soyuz craft itself. This a live look at the control panel that cosmonaut Gennady Padalka and Soyuz commander is looking at on board his vehicle. And here we go, getting now the first views from the Soyuz craft itself. You can see the International Space Station smack dab in the middle of your view there, as the Soyuz still continuing to close in. You can see the in the bottom left corner the rough range and the rate of closure between the two vehicles at about 5.4 kilometers away still, closing in at a rate of about 15 meters per second. Again, that going to slow all the way down to a very snail-like tenth of a meter per second as they do their final approach right into the Poisk module. But getting good TV signal again from that Soyuz craft. The International Space Station in its crosshairs, just a little bit under 40 minutes, about 39 and change away from docking.
Есть разворот.
There is maneuver.
Принято.
Copy. Altair.
So both vehicles right now flying, again, just about 257 statute miles will be their rough altitude at docking, and right now, give or take a couple of miles from that, right over the central part of Australia right now. We're getting a view here from one of the external station cameras. Give you a sense of how fast that they're moving. By the time of docking, in just a little under 40 minutes or so, the station and the Soyuz should actually be over the continental, or sorry, rather the northern part of Colombia in South America.
Есть подготовка режим стабил. Есть ГСО, есть подготовка режим стабил.
Okay, the mode stable and the GSO in attitude 042. Okay, do you copy Moscow? Yes, we copy Altair.
Есть ГК.
We have cutoff command. 7.3 meters was the burn. Okay, copy. 7.3.
Время работы 17,2 секунды.
The time duration of the burn was 17.2 seconds.
Обратный разворот.
So the reverse maneuver.
Есть обратный разворот, станцию наблюдаем.
We have reverse maneuver and we are observing the station. We see the station. 0358.
0358 включение эскадры.
0358.18 is the escada time. Firing, okay?
Красавица большая.
So the Soyuz continuing to close in, just about to cross that 3-kilometer range mark in just a little while. In about 10 minutes or so, you'll hear the call for the start of fly around, where the Soyuz is going to swing itself up towards the space-facing side of the International Space Station, where the Poise module sits over on the Russian segment. Once it's in position, it'll begin again that station keeping, usually only a couple of minutes, where it fine-tunes and makes sure it's lined up perfectly before the teams get their go to begin final approach. Again, docking right now scheduled for 8:36 p.m. Central Time. Everything continuing to go per the timeline. And again, once the Soyuz gets that initial dock, the docking probe on the vehicle will actually retract, pulling it in to its new home on that Poise module. And then in order to secure the Soyuz firmly to the International Space Station, a series of hooks on both the Soyuz and the space station interface are going to close. Once those hooks close signals are sent, they'll be able to resume active attitude control. They'll enter a brief period of free drift where the motion between the two vehicles will be allowed to dampen out, again before that active attitude control kicks back in. And once they're attached, the crew will be set to perform a series of leak checks on the Soyuz, ensuring they have that tight seal, and they'll be able to get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits, which they've been wearing for several hours now, getting suited up just about an hour and a half before launch, and launch itself occurring just about 5 hours and 20 minutes ago. So the crew will get a chance to get out of their suits and then transfer, begin doing those leak checks and getting ready to open the hatches. Hatch opening scheduled to come just a couple hours after at 10:15 p.m. Central Time, 11:15 p.m. Eastern.
2 километра проходим, 6,4.
2 kilometers, 6.4 is the range rate. Mission Control, Moscow, static. Okay. We may have LOS at 4:09 for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes at 4:09.
S-band переключается.
This is S-band switching. Satellite handover.
Влево вверх ушла станция.
We have a maneuver. The station is moving left and up.
1563. Скорость у нас пошел разворот.
1015 203.
Работа ДПО.
ДПО.
Порядка 3,5 метров.
Conversation between crew members, unintelligible.
Есть работа СКД.
SKD, observing.
Порядка 3,5 метров. Принимайте суп.
Are you copying?
Понимаем.
Yes, we copy.
Отработали.
About 3.5 meters. We have done 363
8 секунд.
at 8 seconds.
Идет обратный разворот.
Reverse maneuver.
Топливо не сгорело, пролетает. Сводки.
Not using up the propellant.
Так, наблюдаем станцию в центре.
Yes.
Километр 3,3 скорость.
1 kilometer is the range. 3.
And there's the station coming well into view now, only about a kilometer away, continuing to close in, just about 5 minutes away from the start of that station keeping period, or sorry, the fly around period, at which point the Soyuz is going to begin lining itself up with that Poist module that it's ultimately going to be docking in, delivering Kelly, Kornienko, and Padalka to the International Space Station. So, standing by there, the Soyuz coming into view from one of the space station cameras.
A little bit.
Принято перефиркой. Да.
I got it. AGC. You can use in pool 1.
Сейчас поиграемся с МП-1.
Play with in pool 1.
Р. Р5, ага.
R5. That is.
Вот, поиграйся дальше, поиграйся. Еще. Нет, хуже еще. Да. По кругу пройди. Еще.
Conversation between crew members.
Ну, нормально.
Looking good, right?
And you'll have to forgive this commentator. That's actually a look at the moon from one of the space station external cameras.
Good.
This a look from the Soyuz camera, closing in on the station just a little over 3 kilometers of a 3/4 of a kilometer away.
Альтаира, как на планшете спряталась?
Tire. What is your pad power? Come again?
Батареи на планшете.
What's the battery status
Слава, очень плохо слышно тебя.
on your pad?
Заряд батареи на планшете? Да. Секундочку, сейчас.
And the station well in view now. On the bottom portion where you see a vehicle sticking out of the aft portion, that's the Russian segment. At the top of the station structure as we're looking now, the U.S. segment.
Battery. Copy.
Just about 3 minutes away from that fly around.
Есть работа ДПО.
We have depot. 560 range.
На торможении.
Принято.
To retrograde.
Так, наблюдаем ИМ-2.
We can see RM2.
Понятно, плоскость облета.
We understand the plane or fly around.
So the craft closing in. Again, that fly around should be coming in the next minute or so.
450 meters, 1.2 range rate.
Принято.
Copy.
Soyuz Commander Gennady Padalka giving regular status calls. Inside with him, the two one-year crew members, Scott Kelly, Mikhail Kornienko. Three traveled quite a bit in the last 5 hours and 27 minutes since launching from Baikonur, now in the final steps of their journey up into the space station.
Подходим к дальности 400.
Getting close to 400.
Есть облет.
We have fly around.
And hearing confirmation that the fly around has begun.
По крену.
Control.
Ну, сейчас крен убирает. Да. После с облета строит и пойдет сейчас. О, это было долго, так? Смотри.
DPO is taking time.
Нам вниз облетать. Вон ММ-2.
We are going underneath and we can see MRM2.
Да. Вы наблюдаете формат, да? В режиме облета мы.
You are watching the format, mission control, right? We are flying around. Yes, the image is very good.
Альтаир, у нас пока
Altair,
картинка пропала.
the picture is gone, so we're
So again, that station keeping period has begun. The Soyuz closing in on its alignment with the Poise module where it's going to be docking. The station keeping should last for about 8 minutes more or so.
fly around.
Все штатно, пока
Everything is nominal, no issues.
Снимаем.
As programmed. Copy.
Fly around, apologies. Fly around continuing. Station keeping, the next milestone coming up.
метров.
285 meters, 4 and 7. Range rate, fly around mode.
Принято.
Copy.
Альтаир, F4.
Altair,
У вас будет вход в тень.
at 4:30, you will have eclipse.
4:30 принято.
4:30, copy.
250 метров, 0,5 скорость.
250 meters, 0.5 range rate in the process of fly around. Copy.
метров на 28.
235.28 to continue fly around nominally.
Принято.
Copy.
just about 4 minutes into this fly around, again the Soyuz continuing to align itself with Poisk.
Альтаир, можно пока одеть
Altair,
рассеивающий экран.
you may use a dissipating shield. Say again.
Рассеивающий экран.
Use the
Установить.
screen, dissipating screen.
Нет, у нас иголка и зачем? Что смысл?
Why do we need it?
And again, you're going to continue to hear Podolka speaking with the
We're fine with the lens.
controllers in the Russian Mission Control Center in Koryov, just outside of Moscow. They've been monitoring and controlling, monitoring all the telemetry from the vehicle since shortly after launch.
$216 метров, 0,14 скорость.
216 meters, 0.14 meters per second.
Принято.
In process of fly around. Copy.
And if you're keeping an eye on the lower left corner, you can see just about 0.2 kilometers away now from the station, that closure rate slowing down ever so slightly, more and more, until it goes all the way down to just about 1/10 of a meter per second. Crew reporting everything going well with the fly around still. Just about 3 minutes or so maybe left until that station keeping begins, where the Soyuz will be able to fine-tune its path, get the Poisk module right in its sights before they begin final approach. Everything's still going pretty much right on the timeline, aiming for that docking at 8:36 p.m. Central Time.
Дальность 200, скорость
Range
нулевая.
200. Range rate is almost zero.
Формат вы не разбираете пока, нет?
Continuing fly around. Do you have the format yet?
Не понял.
It's kind of frozen.
Завис формат. Не наблюдаем.
We are not watching the format.
Принято.
It's not incrementing. Copy.
Сверху заходим.
We are on the top of the station. Yes, yes. The ground is underneath.
Совершенно не мешает.
It's not in the way.
А без экрана не слепит войска? Вообще не слепит.
How about
Линзовый экран очень.
OSK, as the sun is not in your eyes at all? No, we don't need a screen.
So we'll get KU signal and video signal from the craft back in just about 2 minutes or so, but the crew reporting they're on top of the station, so looking over the space-facing side, so approaching the end of their fly-around. Should be less than a minute or so until we're about to start the station-keeping period.
$200
метров.
200 meters.
Продолжаем облет.
Continue fly around.
Принято.
Copy.
So the craft was at a range of about 400 meters when the fly around began. By the time they start station keeping, they'll be under 200.
Приняли.
Generally, usually around 160 meters or so. Standing by for a confirmation of the completion of the fly around.
Альтаиры, по окончанию
Altair, when you are done with fly around,
перейти к причаливанию.
you may start docking process.
So the crew reporting to have completed the fly around at this point. Should be looking straight down on the Poise module where their vehicle is going to be docking. Poise again on the space-facing side of the International Space Station, so the Soyuz actually pointed straight down towards the Earth right now.
Выше на 8. Стыковочного узла МИМ-2. Выбираем клиент.
We're at MRM-2 looking at the
Приняли.
docking
Альтаиры, как слышно?
targets. How do you read us? We read you loud and clear.
Перейти к причаливанию.
You may
Окончание облета.
start approach upon completion of fly around. We copy.
Первый. Так.
So at this point, the Soyuz in that station keeping period, waiting for the go for final approach.
We have indicator mode. How copy? We copy.
Есть у нас загорелся причал. Есть, вышли мы на узел МИМ-2. На узел
Station
узла
keeping.
МИМ-2.
We're at
Как приняли.
MRM-2.
And video resumed.
Подтвердите,
And can you confirm we are
Через 7 минут.
at eclipse right now? That will be in 7 minutes.
пару
Можно включить фару.
You can turn on the floodlight.
Можно выдавать причал?
It's in.
Можно выдавать причал.
Shall we issue command for approach?
354. Приняли.
Yes, 0354.
Не выходим, давай.
Copy, and we'll be at the
Причал. Есть
Up.
причал.
approach mode. We got it.
Приняли.
Issued.
Так, набираем скорость. Дальность 190.
So at 8:23, the go for final approach given.
Velocity 190.
скорость.
Soyuz craft in view from the International Space Station on its final approach towards the Poise module. Padalka, Kelly, and Kornienko inside, about 160 meters away.
Метров 0,8.
160 range, 0.6 range rate.
So the crew started their final approach just about a minute or so ahead of their timeline, so that docking might occur a little bit before 8:36, but that the intended target time for this Soyuz craft to dock to the Poise module. But again, they are at this point on final approach. The Corps' automated rendezvous system engaged. Just about 5 or 6 minutes before docking, the Corps' antenna is going to be retracted. That'll come when the Soyuz is roughly about 41 meters away from its final docking port.
Tally ho. 115 метров 0,7 скорость.
115. 0.7.
A quick tally-ho from Scott Kelly, the NASA astronaut on board. All three crew members, veteran space flyers, each having done at least one long-duration expedition on board.
Meters per second. Copy.
Under 100 meters away now. Continuing to close in, you can see poised right there in the center of your view. Also known as the Mini Research Module 2. It's the docking port that this vehicle is going to be attached to. Once they dock, hooks will be able to close on both the Soyuz and the hoist module.
85 метров проходим.
85 meters. 0.38
Наблюдаем мишень.
range rate. Watching the target.
Again, that range rate's going to continue to shrink down a little bit, smaller and smaller as they close in. Should be around a tenth of a meter per second right as they're getting ready to dock. Coming up on 75 meters away.
Copy.
75 метров проходим.
75 meters passing. Inaudible.
Принято.
Good view there of the Soyuz TMA-16M spacecraft. Passing 70 meters.
метров 0,3 скорость.
65.3 range rate.
Moscow Station, space to
60
ground 1.
meters passing.
Go ahead.
Сереж, вот у меня на вьюере нет изображения.
Sergey, on viewer, I don't see the image.
0.24.
Вообще никакого, да?
None at all?
Да, белый экран.
Yeah, it's just white screen.
То есть везде мы видим на
And it's blank.
символе, на...
So I see it on the symbol and VKO, but not on viewer.
Принято.
Copy.
50 метров дальность.
50 meters range. 0.2 meters per second range rate.
Запустить и все.
Should I?
And now below 50 meters.
Copy.
Сейчас, одну минуточку.
Stand by, Anton.
Альтейры, смотрите, можно
Altair.
пересветку еще раз выдать.
AGC mode is available now.
Ты ж попробуй еще пересетку поиграть. Я не хочу отсюда
I don't want to leave this area.
Ты хочешь? Надо, не надо, ребят.
Don't have to. Don't. No need.
Вот нормально.
It's fine.
45 метров.
45 meters, 0.19 meters per second range.
Soyuz continuing to close in, closing at under 0.2 of a meter per second at this point. Just about to cross the 40-meter threshold. Again, at 41 meters, that Core's antenna should be retracting.
Off viewer.
Запустить. И
It's done.
And then turn it back on. And then reinitiate.
Another great view of the Soyuz, the station's robotic arm, Canada Arm 2 there in the foreground. Soyuz passing behind.
Antenna is closed.
как принял, Антон.
How
Anton,
very
how
good.
copy?
Solar rays, beautiful.
Да, Сереж, я уже...
And getting confirmation the Core's antenna has been retracted.
Doing what you just told me to do. That's why I didn't respond. Copy.
Устойчивый корабль. Никаких замечаний нет.
35 meters, 0.15 range rate.
It,
The
and I
vehicle
see the
is
image
stable.
back,
No
and I'm
issues.
going
Copy,
to
Altair.
start recording again. Copy, thank you.
Метров прошли, 0,14 скорость.
30 meters is the rate, and the range rate 0.14 meters per second.
Just 25 more meters to go.
25 meters is the range, and the range rate is 0.14.
метров, 0,1 скорость.
Range 20, range rate 0.11.
So the rate of closure and the distance between the two vehicles now right at around a tenth of a meter per second.
Range
Coming up on just 20 meters away, you can see Poisk on the docking target there in the center of your view.
Мишень чуть-чуть от центра, не понимаю.
The target is a little bit far from the center, but it's within the limits. It is nominal.
Есть на базар. Есть выравнивание по крену, и мишень в центр подходит.
So we have the alignment in roll, and the target is moving to the center.
Все в центре мишень.
The target is in the center.
Подложка идеально совмещены.
So the crosshairs are stable on the target.
Скорость безопасна, 0,1.
Copy. So 0.11 is the range rate, and it is safe.
По полградуса вниз и вправо в пределах нормы.
Soyuz craft about to get up close and personal with the Poisk module just about 10 meters away.
Ожидаем касания.
We are observing the contact.
В центре мишень.
The target
We'll be standing by for docking confirmation under 10 meters away.
fine.
Так, мышки закрываем. Ага.
Coming up on 5 meters.
Inaudible.
Так, есть подвод, есть механсейдинг.
So there is mechanical contact.
Все прекрасно.
Everything is fine. Okay, the guys, congratulations.
And contact and capture confirmed. The one-year crew has arrived. And coming at 8:33 p.m. Central Time, 8:33 and 41 seconds if you want to get exact, while both vehicles were flying just about 252 statute miles just off the western coast of Colombia.
Продолжаем работать, Слав, слышишь, да?
We continue working. Do you copy us? Yes, we copy you, Altair.
Так, переходим на страничку.
We proceed
По 66-й.
to page 66.
Составление шарбалона.
We're expecting the pressure in spherical tanks from you, and also the
Да, страница 60.
pressure. Okay, page 66, we are ready.
And so again, at this point, the docking probe getting ready to be retracted, and then that'll allow the hooks to close on both the Soyuz and the station interfaces.
Is
We're going to allow this free drift to occur for a little bit, let the relative motion between the two vehicles dampen out
we close
before they resume this active attitude control with the station. But again, docking coming at 8:33 p.m. Central Time. Station and Soyuz about 253 statute miles off the western coast of Colombia in South America.
talking at the same time. Okay, we are deactivating AGC and the headlight.
Принято.
Okay, copy, Altair.
Давай, Миша, R6.
So, R6.
Kornienko and Scott Kelly attached to their new home. For two of them, Kornienko and Kelly, for the next 12 months.
Okay, the headlight
So
is
they become the
deactivated.
first to spend a full year on board the orbiting laboratory. Padalka also a very momentous occasion for him, as he's going to become the all-time record holder for time in space, making his fifth flight, his fourth as a long-duration crew member on board the International Space Station, also having one flight previously on the Russian Mir station.
822. Do you copy?
Приняли.
Descent. And BO 818. BO pressure is 818.
Принято.
How copy Moscow? Yes, we copy 818.
ПО 855.
BO 855.
Принято. 855.
Okay, copy 855. Altair Байконур. Altair Байконур.
Moscow station on space to ground 1.
We are receiving from SSPP
Okay, should I
format.
perform step 7?
За процессом.
Already, because
Mikhail,
I'm not seeing
please
damage anymore.
monitor the process.
Альтаир, как слышно?
Altair, how copy Moscow?
Am I go to perform the
We copy
downlink
you
step?
loud and clear. How do you copy us?
Yeah, we don't see anything.
You know,
within
the management is trying to connect with you. You did not
Go
copy?
to shut down the viewer.
No, there was a lot of interference and
Am-
echo in the
Am I
loop.
go to switch the KVD pressure equalization valve into electrical mode?
How copy MCC Moscow?
Not yet. Stand by. Okay.
I copy
standing
you
by.
loud and clear, Altair.
Руководство говорит,
The management is trying
наверное, не
to call you, but you probably don't hear them.
Какое-то эхо идет. Телефон.
You know, we can copy you loud and clear, but there is some echo, in the loop when they are trying to call us. Well, let them try again.
Электрожимо-состыковочный опрос есть у нас.
принято.
Okay, we have the docked parameters here. Okay, copy, Altair.
Отключаем везде причал, как приняли.
So we deactivate the backup pre-chal or reserve pre-chal. Copy, Altair.
Выдали. Пошла перекладка.
Okay, we sent the command, so the process started.
And so we're continuing to stand by to get confirmation that those hooks have closed between the two vehicles. The Soyuz docking successfully at 8:33 p.m. Central Time this evening, 5 hours 51 minutes after launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Gennady Padalka, Scott Kelly, and Mikhail Kornienko now attached to the International Space Station. They're home for the next 6 months for Padalka and the next 12 months for Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko, the first one-year crew to fly on board the International Space Station. You could see the current makeup of vehicles attached to the station now, 2 Progress and now 2 Soyuz crew vehicles. All 4 docked over on the Russian segment there. The newest one on top on the space-facing side, the TMA-16M, recently attached just 6 minutes ago. And now waiting for those hooks to close. Following that, the crews will be doing a series of leak checks, and then the 3 inside will be able to get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits prior to hatch opening, targeted to come at about 10:15 p.m. Central Time tonight. and so the visiting vehicle officer here in Mission Control Houston, the one responsible for feeding updates on today's flight to all of the flight controllers here, just now confirming the docking probe has been retracted and the hooks are closed. So at this point, the Soyuz vehicle firmly attached now to the International Space Station. The 3 new crew members inside will get a chance to get out of their launch and entry suits before conducting a series of leak checks, ensuring they have a tight seal between their craft and their new home on the International Space Station before they're able to get the hatches open, get inside, and say hello to the 3 already on board. Some quick programming notes for you, because we'll be breaking away coverage for a little while here. We're going to resume our hatch opening coverage at 9:45 p.m. Central Time, 10:45 p.m. Eastern, just about an hour from now. And then the hatch is scheduled to be opened at 10:15 p.m. Central Time, 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time. At that point, the 3 new crew members will be on board. The International Space Station its crew contingent will double in size, and the first ever 1-year expedition will be able to get started on all of the science that they're going to be completing over the next 12 months. Much of it, so much of what we do on board the station important and directly contributing to our ability to one day send men and women safely to and from Mars. So for now, though, we'll go ahead and wrap up our docking coverage. Again, docking coming successfully at 8:33 p.m. Central Time, 5 hours, 51 minutes after a successful launch from Baikonur. Be sure to join us back in here for hatch opening, see them go inside the station. But for now, we'll go ahead and sign off. This is Mission Control Houston.